One quiet afternoon, Tabby the orange cat and Frenchie the little cream bulldog were playing in front of their house. Suddenly, their elderly neighbor came walking slowly toward them with a warm smile. In her hands was a long golden loaf of bread. It was a baguette. She gently handed the bread to Tabby and Frenchie as a gift before continuing her walk down the street. The two friends looked at the bread with curiosity. It was long and smelled wonderful, but when Tabby tried to bite it, crack! The bread was unbelievably hard. Tabby frowned and tilted his head. Maybe the bread needed a little encouragement, so he lifted the baguette and began tapping it against the table. Tap, tap, tap. But the bread did not break. Frenchie had a different idea. He ran to the toolbox and returned with a tiny little hammer. Carefully, Frenchie placed the baguette on the table. Then, tap, tap, tap. Crumbs flew everywhere. The bread was still stubbornly hard. Soon the kitchen table looked like a battlefield of breadcrumbs. Tabby scratched his head. Frenchie sighed. How could bread be so difficult to eat? Just then, a small white mouse peeked out from behind the cupboard. The little mouse had been watching the entire scene. His nose twitched as he sniffed the delicious smell of bread. He looked hungry, but also amused. Tabby and Frenchie noticed him and paused. The tiny mouse walked closer and examined the baguette carefully. Then he looked up at the two confused friends. This bread wasn't meant to be eaten like ordinary bread. Baguette, he seemed to explain, becomes soft and delicious when dipped into warm soup. Tabby and Frenchie's eyes widened. Warm soup? That sounded wonderful. Soon, a pot of steaming soup was placed on the table. The golden baguette was sliced carefully. One by one, they dipped the pieces into the warm soup. Slowly, the bread softened. The smell filled the room with comfort and warmth. Tabby took the first bite. His eyes sparkled. Frenchie tasted next and wagged his tail happily. Even the little white mouse nibbled a soft piece of bread. At last, the mystery of the hard bread was solved. That evening, three unlikely friends sat together at the same table. Tabby, the curious cat, Frenchie, the inventive bulldog, and the tiny white mouse, who shared a clever idea. They dipped warm bread into steaming soup, laughed together, and enjoyed the simple joy of sharing a meal. Sometimes the best discoveries happen when friends help each other, and sometimes the hardest bread simply needs a little warmth.